Now, of course, lists of skills or hiring hacks are genuinely 10 a penny. We can Google this topic. We can use AI and ask it to go and search this topic. And the construct of the chart is going to look very similar. Now, I'm very keen to play with the cool kids. So I thought I'd make my own list, and let's see how that goes down with you as CEOs. So the question in my mind was, from my experience, from my own hiring experience, what does great look like? What were the attributes that were more evident in successful hires and less evident in those that didn't work out? Now, my language there is important. Hires that don't work out, it doesn't mean that they don't have these attributes. There are a bunch of nuances. There is always a context for a sales role. But the distinction is that successful salespeople, in my experience, demonstrated this evident behavior, practiced skills, and applied knowledge. Now, in thinking about how I approach this, I did make some assumptions. I assumed that we are targeting long-term relationships with a growing sales opportunity. I've assumed there is some level of complexity and that the customer sees value in the problem being solved. So you can read from this that I'm not thinking about a transactional sales environment. I'm not thinking about an environment where you can make 500 dials in a day and somehow that will lead to success. So the way that I've approached this then calls out some attributes that I think are important. So let me call off just a couple for you. I'm very tuned to the idea of remaining focused through ambiguity. I guess the reason for that is it's been particularly relevant for the last 2 or 3 years, and I'm sure will continue to be relevant for the foreseeable future. And it is also relevant whether the business is being successful and is on a roll, or whether we're facing challenges. I'm willing to bet that if you've chosen to join this call, your business is definitely not standing still one way or another. So the idea that a great hire can recognize risk factors, can compose and articulate mitigation to the variables that they'll face, that they're comfortable with change, and also that they're clear and comfortable expecting their leaders to offer stability, I think that's important. I think through the vagaries of sales, that's key. Equally, when I thought about practiced skills, of course, there are many, but challenging to understand, again, I think is important. There are many methodologies that salespeople will adopt, some of which target being challenging, being provocative. And I want to make a distinction between being provocative and creating a foundation for debate with credibility and not presenting confirmation bias as IQ. Subtle distinctions, but when we're trying to work out what great looks like, subtlety is important. Nuances matter. Equally with unlocking insights. Unlocking insights does not look like throwing down ideas, asking a long list of questions, being stuck on transmit until the customer concedes that they need to share some information so you can sell to them. The image that I would like to present around unlocking insights is that the salesperson should be characterized as a collaborator, a detective, an engineer. They're working with the customer to apply knowledge, apply learnings, yes, challenge, but to unlock insights together that are valuable to the customer that can be acted on. It isn't an IQ shootout to see who knows more about the challenge that is being faced. On another occasion, I'd happily go through these bullets, and together I'm sure that we could add more and probably improve the list. But let's pause there, not least because everybody knows the script. Everybody knows that there are attributes that are more important than others. Everybody will have their version that may or may not align to this. But the reality is there are no benchmarks. There's no chartered status. There is no singular profile for what a great salesperson looks like. There are plenty of opinions, but no benchmarks, no national database. Panini could not produce a sticker book for the 200 best salespeople in the UK last year. That's a fact. If they could, they would have, trust me. So even if you get to a point where you are comfortable with making a decision to hire, in truth, it is expensive. It will require lots of support to make work. We know that change will happen as a consequence, and we know that it's going to be uncomfortable for some people, if not all.